Hello. Winter savory. How to start your own garden to save money on groceries. You can plant some perennial herbs that are hardy to your zone, and over time you do not purchase some spices and some herb from the grocery store. The money you save from that could go toward other things you do not grow that you purchase. That way, even if their prices are going up, your grocery budget is not changing. It will stay the same, if not decreasing. So, one perennial herbs added to our zone 5A is winter savory. I have it in the garden for a while now, and I just let it go to flower as well, and it's easy to propagate. It tends to expand over time, and it can stay green through early winter. So you can harvest them. You can harvest some, cut some stem, peel the leaf off, chop them, and add them to your cooking. But in fall, I like to harvest a bunch of leaves, and that's the time for me to replant some of the stem as well when I do that. So how do you propagate your winter savory? You will cut the stem, and you can just dig it in the ground where it's moist, and it will root over time. What I like to do though is make sure few inches of the stem is well under the ground, like in the ground with dirt on it, so that it can root it can have space to root. And then I'll have the tip showing above the ground. And you can do that in spring. You harvest last year's stem and do that. But I found the green one, which will be this year's stem, to root easily as well. And in fall, I will harvest the leaves, pull the leaves off of the stem, and use those leaves, chop them up, add them to oil, and store them in a glass jar and put in the freezer. That way I can use that herb oil for cooking and for drizzling on meat. I will add it to room temperature butter as well, and store in a jar and put in the freezer, and that can be used to spread on bread. Like if you are making garlic bread, that's one way we make our own garlic bread. I like to call it herb bread instead of buying frozen garlic bread from the grocery store. That's another saving right there. We purchase French bread on sale for like 90 cents instead of $1, and then I will cut it open and then cut it in pieces and spread that herb butter that I make on it and store them in the bag and put in the freezer, and we can just use those bread, put in the oven and bake them, to toast them, to serve next to dishes like pasta. And you can use it in your cooking, the herb, and it can is very hardy and will stay here well after the cold season starts, and I'll be able to come out and harvest it for cooking. So when you are cooking, you can just harvest straight from the garden, but for winter use, you can make your own herb butter or herb oil to put in the freezer. That way you won't have to store the fresh herb in the fridge, and you'll be able to have your supply, your winter supply for winter. And it is easy to propagate. Once you plant it, you can just cut some stem and put them in the ground, and you can do that in spring. You can do that I will say any time of the year that the ground is moist enough for them to root. And here is another spot that I have as well. And it's good to keep propagating it so that you have new plants in the garden. And you can see this is all plants. If you can see the bottom is not, and I do not cut those brown stem off in spring. I just leave them alone because the leaf will fall off in fall. I leave the branches alone, and in spring they grow leaves back on them. So you'll notice that the green is this year growth, the brown is previous year growth. So the new growth, they tend to grow on the newer stems. So this stem is not this year's stem, could be last year's stem, but this one is older. So this one does not really have a leaves on it, but it does have a stem that has leaves. So I just don't cut them down so that the one that will grow leaves can grow leaves. And then as it's growing, this year stem will have more leaves on them, and the older stems will grow other stems that will carry leaves. So you can see this one has some leaves on it, but more importantly have new growth that carry the leaves. But the lower branches are pretty much without a lot of leaves. You can see them here. So those are not what you'll propagate. The new growth is what you'll propagate easily. You just have to see the stem that is taken off for you to do that. Even if that's a green stem, which is this year, I like that to be a little bit on the thick side, and I know I can propagate it. When you are doing it over time, you'll have the feel. When you harvest leaves for cooking and you are peeling the leaves off of the stem, you know, your intuition will tell you what stem is appropriate to put in a moist soil to root. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creators of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel and ninasoap.com, our blog. We thank you very much, you all that subscribe to our channel. We thank you very much for all your comments, and we thank you very much, you all that watch our videos. Yes, you can start your own garden to save money on groceries. I will suggest you grow a sustainable garden by introducing perennials, vegetables, perennials, herbs, perennial spices that are hardy to your zone. That way you plant them once and you do not have to purchase those seeds year after year, or those plants year after year to replant. And from what you have, you just propagate so that you have enough patch in your garden for your supply. And over time, that's one thing you will cross off of your grocery list, and that saving could go toward another item you purchase that has a price increase. That way your grocery budget will remain the same even though prices are going up at the grocery store. Thank you so much.